The guitar evolved from short-necked lutes. Long-necked lutes include the banjo and sitar. The earliest lutes, shown on Mesopotamian pottery around 3100 BC, are long-necked instruments. Some ancient instruments discovered in the Middle East before 1000 BC appear to show frets. The Moors, who conquered Andalusia and other parts of Spain in the 8th century, introduced the lute, or oud. The standard tuning for guitar, E, A, D, G, B, E, from the largest sixth string to the smallest first string, evolved from the Italian folk guitar, chitarra battente, which was tuned A, D, G, B, E from its largest fifth to smallest first string. When six-string guitars were introduced, a low E string was added. By the early 19th century, most guitars were tuned to a variation of standard contemporary tuning, with the strings tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E, or E, A, D, F sharp for the third string, B, E. Without the major third exception to tuning between the third and second strings, there would be about 40% as many fretting patterns. That exception is here, shown by comparing these strings at the fifth fret to the next smallest string open, yet the third string has to be at the fourth fret. This system for compensation for standard guitar tuning will get you closer to that 40% of as many patterns. The compensation involves memorizing a pattern on the larger four strings, such as this minor pentatonic scale, and applying it to a string set that includes the second or first string, or vice versa. Ascending a scale or arpeggio, notes on the two smaller strings, second and first string, have to be moved one fret towards the guitar body, since they are tuned relatively a half stat flat, one fret flat, to the four bass strings. Descending a scale or arpeggio, notes on the larger four strings have to be moved one fret towards the head of the guitar, since the four bass strings are tuned relatively a half step sharp to the two treble strings. Here's a minor pentatonic scale on the four bass strings, and I want to memorize this graphic pattern, the digital graphic pattern on the fretboard. I'm using fingers 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. And when I move that to the next smaller string, starting with the A note it was on the fifth string, so far there's no change. It's still 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. But when I move here to the fourth string, 1, 4, 1, 3, now when I hit the second string, I have to compensate by going up a fret. Likewise, when I'm descending, if I were to play this pattern with the fingering pattern 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1 in position here, when I start that here, 3, 1, I'll play in the same key. Okay, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Now the 4, 1 can't be here because the guitar is tuned differently between those strings, so I have to play 3, 1, 3, 1, and then compensate it down a fret to play the 4, 1. The system will cover pentatonic scales, arpeggios, chords, and 6, 7, and 8 tone scales. The A major scale by numbers. The intervals will be mostly 2 frets, but between scale tone numbers 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1 fret, and 7 and 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 and 8, or 7 and 1, it's 1 fret. In A, at the 5th fret, on the 6th string A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. Then in letters, F, C, and G are sharp. So say the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, but along the way, sharp those 3 letters, F, C, and G. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Then in fret intervals, from each note to the next, it's an interval of 2 frets, and I'm calling this 2 frets, but there's an empty fret between my fingers, 2 frets. It is 1 fret between 3, 4, and 7, 8. So it goes 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret. So it's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Then in the term whole step and half step, whole step means 2 frets, and half step means 1 fret. It's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. The A minor pentatonic scale on the 6th string by numbers. It is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Here was the A major scale, 1, 2, 3. So flat 3 would be here, 1 fret towards the head of the guitar. 1, flat 3 then, and 1, 2, 3, 4 was here, and 5 was here in the A major scale. So 1, flat 3, 4, 5. And then this is 6 as a point of reference in the A major scale, and 7. And this would be flat 7, 3 frets above 5. So note that from 1 to flat 3 is 3 frets, and so is 5 to flat 7. And then 1 is up here. This was flat 7, 7 is there, so this is 1. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1. In letters, this is A, B, C, that's C. The natural notes are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they are here A, B, C, because B to C is 1 fret. D is 2 frets, E is 2 frets. E to F is the other 1 fret interval with natural notes, E, F, and 2 frets to G and 2 frets to A. So this is natural notes, no sharps or flats, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And our A minor pentatonic was 1, A, flat 3, that's C then, A, B, C. 4 is D, 5 is E, F is here, and flat 7 is here, so this is 5, E, that's F, flat 7 is G, and then A, or 1. 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, or in letters A, C, D, E, G, A. Then in intervals by numbers of frets, this is 1, and then 3 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 3 frets, and 2 frets. In terms of names of intervals, minor third and whole step, this 3 frets is a minor third, so minor third, whole step, whole step. Whole steps are 2 frets, minor third again, and whole step. In the beginning, it's minor third, whole step, minor third, whole step. Pentatonic lines could be used to graphically conceive the pentatonic fingerings. There are 5 lines. Each one is named after the pentatonic scale, where it is on the head side of the fingering. So in this fingering 1, line 1 is these notes at my index finger. There's 5 lines: line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5. And line 1, as I said, was just a bar. Line 4 is at 1, 5, 3, 4, 5, scale tone 5, for minor pentatonic. And it's a bar with second high. It has a chromatically high note here in the second string. Then lines 2, 3, and 5 are shaped like an open position G chord, a 4-finger G chord like this. But on the flat 3 of minor, that line modifies the 4-finger G chord by barring strings 5, 4, 3 with the first finger here. And that makes a C6-9 chord, actually, in this case. Then the next line, the third line, first line, second line, third line, is like the G chord, but the middle finger here bars 3 strings, and the index is 1 fret towards the head of the guitar on the 3rd string, then these 2 on the 10th fret. Most of the notes on 10th fret, but this index finger is on the 3rd string, so you could call this 3rd low chromatically. That's a C6-9 chord again, but this time with a D in the bass, or A minor 11th. And line 4, as I said earlier, is just this bar with a single note. And line 5 is another shape like the open position 4-finger G chord, but this time the second finger in the bass bars 2 strings, then the first finger a fret towards the head bars 2 strings, and then these 2 as usual on the top. Line 5. So the lines are 1, 2, 3 with a 3-string bar down here, 4 with a high 2, and 5 with a 2-string bar, 2-string bar, and 2 fingers in the top. Then line 1 repeats up here. When you're going down, line 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a cycle, so the one toward the head from line 1 would be line 5 again. This one. 2 bar, 2 strings, bar, 2 strings, 2 high notes. Now we'll use the pentatonic lines to build fingerings, pentatonic fingerings. In line 1, this is all in A minor or C major. Line 1's at the 5th fret. Line 1 and line 2, this is at the 8th fret, combine to make up fingering 1. Each of the pentatonic scales have 2 notes per string, and combining these, I get this pattern. Then combining line 2 and 3, I get fingering 2, the most complex pattern. Then combine line 3 and 4, and I get fingering 3, a pretty simple pattern, all fretted with the first and third fingers by default, except reach toward the head of the guitar on the third string with the first finger. It has a low 3, you could say, chromatically, and the little finger on the second string, it has a high 2. So all the notes are on these 2 frets with the first and third fingers, except low 3 and high 2. And that makes this. Line 3 and 4 makes this. Fingering 3, pentatonic fingering 3. Then line 4 and line 5, which had bar 2, and the 2 notes at the top, combined to make fingering 4. Line 5, then, bar 2 strings, 2 notes at the top, like on a G chord. And line 1, which is barring all on the same fret, combined to make fingering 5, and that should be fretted all with these 2 fingers by default. It has third and fourth low here, 1 fret towards the head of the guitar. And then you're back to line 1 and 2 to repeat fingering 1. To reinforce the pentatonic fingering patterns, state each pattern in finger numbers with the default fingering, like this. Fingering 1, this is fingers 1, 2, 3, 4. Fingering 1 is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. That's A minor pentatonic at the 5th fret or C major pentatonic, 5th fret. And here with the second finger on the 6th string 8th fret is fingering 2 with fingering pattern 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 4. Later, you may want to change that fingering on the 2 small strings to fingers 1, 3 to facilitate bending and double stops like this. But for now, use fingers 2, 4 on each of those strings. A minor pentatonic and C major pentatonic fingering 3, mostly at the 10th fret, is fingers 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, then low 1, 1 fret towards the head of the guitar, 3, still at the 12th fret like the other strings, and then second string 1, 4, first string 1, 3, again, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, low 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 3. Fingering 4 at the 12th fret in A minor and C major pentatonic is fingers 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 4. Fingering 5, A minor pentatonic and C major pentatonic at the 15th fret, except 2 notes reach towards the head on strings 4 and 3 with the index, 4th and 3rd low, is fingers 1, 3, 1, 3, low 1, 3, low 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. The master pentatonic scale pattern. This guitar is tuned in perfect fourths. I've retuned it. So at the 5th fret on each string, I've compared the next string open to that note on the 5th fret. So normally doing this, you would tune the 2nd string open to the 3rd string 4th fret, but I'm using the 5th fret and the same on the 2nd string. So each string moves to the next on the same fret, the next smaller string, up a perfect fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4. each to the next is a fourth. So this is all fourths. With that tuning, I'll play in what would be the key of A minor up here, starting on the sixth string, the pattern you see on the upper left, which has fingers 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Two bass strings with a 4 fret pattern and 3 with a 3 fret pattern. If I play that, since this is tuned in perfect fourths, if I play that moving this bass note E to the fifth string, if I play the pattern there from strings 5 to 1, it sounds exactly the same as 6 to 2 here. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Starting on the fifth string now. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Now continuing with the idea of using a guitar tuned entirely in perfect fourths on all these diagrams. First on the upper left, you can see the master pattern, and to the right is its implementation for the minor pentatonic, or notice the low octave key is on the next to the largest string where there's a 1. And for the major pentatonic, the low octave tone center is on the next to the largest string where there's a 1 on the body end of the guitar. So the minor tone centers where your index finger would be here, and the major tone centers where the little finger would be here. Now that master pattern, looking at the one with dots on the upper left, is shown on the infinite fretboard. This is conceptually a view of a part of infinite strings and infinite frets. And it shows the relationship of each fingering in that. Here's fingering 1, where my cursor is here. And remember, it's not fingering 1 as we know it within that dotted rectangle, but the first two strings are not compensated as they usually are. So our usual pattern from here would go for fingering 1, as you know, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, and then on this same fret it would go 1, 4, and on the next string 1, 4, but those are where they're shown here because it's not tuned in perfect fourths. So we take this master pattern, conceive it on the infinite fretboard, and then on the two small strings, whatever pattern you're playing, you have to take the notes on the two small strings and move them 1 fret towards the body of the guitar. And then you'll get, here's fingering 1 below on the lower left with that compensation. Then fingering 2 occurs on the upper left here, and notice that with it, conceptually, it's starting on the largest string on the last of 3 finger 1, 3 intervals. The master pattern up in the top here, remember from left to right or from large to small string, would go fingers 1, 4, 1, 4, and then 3 strings with 1, 3. On fingering 2, this is the last of the 1, 3 fingerings as you're going from left to right on the diagrams, or 2 smaller strings. And then note that wherever this hexagon here is here on all these diagrams, that's the flat 3 of the minor key or the tone center of the major key for minor and major pentatonic. So in A minor pentatonic and C major pentatonic, that'll be the C note. where the pattern starts over, and notice that it does right here. You get the 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 pattern, like on the upper left here. Notice that that starts in relation to that hexagon diagonally, like one smaller string and one lesser fret, one fret towards the head of the guitar, that diagonal angle. And this whole pattern, if you look at all of these, that's what happens. Wherever you get to the, like right here, there, 1 3 1 3 1 3, then the pattern's going to start over, but the first note will be going to the smaller string diagonally, down one fret and to one smaller string. Then there you have, again, 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3. So if you look through all of these, you can see, I'll zoom this down so you can see. If you look at each fingering, each one of the 5 fingerings below starts at a different place in that master pattern and then continues, and wherever you get to one of those hexagon notes, that's the flat 3 of minor or the flat 3 of major, the pattern will start over to the right on the diagram, and we'll have the 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3. So these bottom diagrams, remember, those are compensated. Those are standard guitar tuning. So like I pointed out with fingering 1 above here, you had to go back a fret from that hexagon right there to get the 1 4 1 4 on the 2 small strings. Well, here it's compensated, so you don't go back a fret. These 2 small strings have been moved up a fret. So if you look at fingering 2 here in the dotted rectangle, what you see on the 2 small strings has to be compensated below and moved 1 fret towards the body of the guitar, like this. Then fingering 3 starts in the bass with the 3 1 3 intervals. Then here you go back a fret towards the head of the guitar into a smaller string diagonally. And there's your 1 4 1 3 1 3 with a pattern starting over. But when I hit the second string, I had to go 1 fret towards the body of the guitar. Fingering 4 is almost the perfect master pattern, except for the compensation in the second string. You can see here 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3, and then compensated 1 3, like 1 fret towards the body of the guitar, right? And then this note is the flat 3 of minor and the tone center of major, and you go diagonally to here. And if you had hypothetically more strings, smaller strings going beyond the first string, it would continue starting with the first string 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3. Fingering 5 starts with the second of the 3 1 3s in the bass, and then on the 5th string, that flat 3 or of minor or tone center of major in a hexagon goes up diagonally to start over the 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3. Of course, those 2 1 3s are 1 fret towards the body of the guitar. So that's how the master pattern manifests on the standard tuned guitar. It's kind of a can of worms, but if you come to understand that, it'll strengthen your understanding of pentatonic scales in general and make it easier to recall and place fingerings. Now we'll associate minor pentatonics 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, respectively, with pentatonic fingerings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where in each case the index finger will be the low-numbered finger on the 6th string in the fingering, like that with the first finger, except for fingering 2 will have the second finger as the low pitch on the sixth string. So ascend A minor pentatonic scale tones on the sixth string: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, like we did earlier, and associate those with the fingerings, respectively. At 1 is fingering 1, flat 3 is fingering 2, 4 is fingering 3, scale tone 4 is fingering 3, scale tone 5 is fingering 4, and scale tone flat 7 is fingering 5. You could think of it like this: using my hand to represent the fingering number, fingering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Here are the scale tones spoken, and my hand indicating the fingering number: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. So I'm saying 1 for scale tone 1 and holding up my finger to indicate fingering 1. I'm saying flat 3 and holding up 2 fingers to indicate fingering 2. I'm saying 4 for the scale tone and holding up 3 fingers because its lower tone is for fingering 4. I'm saying for fingering 3. Then I'm saying 5 and holding up 4 fingers. Edit out the last. Here's the C major scale played on the sixth string by numbers, letters, frets, and intervals. From C, this is better on an electric guitar with usually more frets. The intervals are 1, 2, 3, 4, half step from 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, half step from 7 to 1, or 7 to 8, 8 and 1's the same note. And in letters, those are all natural letters for the key of C, no sharps or flats. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The fret distances are 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret, then 2 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret. Naming those with whole steps and half steps, those are whole step, half step, then whole step, half step. The C major pentatonic scale on the sixth string by numbers, letters, frets, and intervals. This is C on the H fret. And first come down the C major scale, the 7-tone scale, 1, 7, 6, to find 6. 1, 7, 6. Now we're going to play the scale from 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And by numbers, that is 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. By letters, it's A, C, D, E, G, A. And by fret spaces, this being 3 frets with 2 empty frets between my fingers, it's 3 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 3 frets, 2 frets, and an interval names. The 3-fret interval is called a minor third, and the 2-fret interval a major second or whole step. This is minor third, whole step, minor third, whole step. C major scale on the sixth string was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Descend that from 1 down to 6. That would be 1, 7, 1 fret interval, 6, 2 fret interval. Then play 6, 1, 2, 3, 5. Those letters are A, C, D, E, G. And associate those with C major pentatonic fingerings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fingering 1 has 6 in the bass. Fingering 2 with the second finger fretting the bass note. Fingering 2 has 1 in the bass of the key of C. Fingering 3 has 2 in the bass of C. Fingering 4 has 3 of C, in the bass. And fingering 5 has 5 of C in the bass. So respectively 6, 1, 2, 3, 5 are fingering numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which you could also say like this, or illustrate like this. This is the fingering number, and I'm speaking the low-pitched bass note in each fingering. 6, 1, 2, 3, 5. A minor and C major pentatonic are relative major and minor. They share the same notes. This is A minor pentatonic, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. It's also C major pentatonic. I could illustrate by playing from C to C, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. C major or A minor. In fingering 1, fingering 4, and fingering 2, in the bass strings, there's a tone center for the minor, for A minor in this case, with the index finger, and a major tone center with the little finger. In fingering 1, the low octave tone center is the 6th string with the index for minor, and C major is with the little finger, so minor here and major here. A minor, C major. Likewise, in fingering 4, on the 5th string, first finger is minor tone center, and little finger is major tone center. Fingering 2 on the 4th string, index finger is minor, and little finger is major tone center. For that major tone center, it's also on the 6th string, but looking at these, the C note is on the 6th string. But looking at the minor and major on the 4th string shows this relationship of minor tone center with the index and little finger on the major tone center, which happens in fingering 1, 4, and 2. Then on fingering 5 and 3, the minor tone center is in the bass with the ring finger, and the major on the next smaller string with the index. So in fingering 5, this is A minor, and this is C major. And fingering 3, the same fingering relationship, but from the 5th string, minor tone center A with the ring finger, and on the next smaller string with the index, on the 4th string, the major tone center with the index finger. The origin of the 5 octave shapes with open E, open A, open D, open G, and the open B moved up to the more common C. Each one is associated with an open position chord, E, open E, with the E major chord or E minor chord with the other 2 E notes on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and the 1st string open. A, open A, is associated with A minor or A major. And the other A is on the third string, second fret. D is associated with the D major chord, and the other D is on the second string, third fret. So that one's on the third fret because of the compensated tuning. Notice E and A are accompanied by an octave on the second fret, and this open D is an octave on the third fret because the note had to be moved up to compensate for the flat-tuned first two strings, the second string in that case. So that's the D octave. Then the G octave is the open G, and the first string, third fret. Again, that's compensated to the third fret instead of the second fret because of the tuning. And those are accompanied by G in the low octave, since any note on the first string is duplicated on the same fret of the sixth string by name, G and G. So we have G in 3 octaves. Then each one of these octave shapes can be moved up in tandem to any note and would be named by its origin, the bass note in its origin. E, the E shape, moved up is F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, etc. In the E form, A, moving up in the A form to A sharp, B, B sharp, C sharp, C. D in the D form, moving up to D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, D form. G in the G form, moving up to G sharp, A sharp, B, C, and B, move to C, naming the shape C. Moving up in tandem is C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. Octave A notes in the octave shapes E, this is A in the E form at the 5th fret, and the octave shapes E form, D form, C form, A form, G form, and then E form again would occur up here at the 17th fret with the associated A minor pentatonic scale fingerings. E form, fingering 1. D form, fingering 2. C form, fingering 3. A form, fingering 4. G form, fingering 5. And back to E form, fingering 1. The 5 octave shapes of C in the G form, E form, D form, C form, A form, and the corresponding pentatonic scales. G form, here at the 5th fret, is fingering 1 for C major pentatonic. E form is fingering 2. D form is fingering 3. C form is fingering 4. A form is fingering 5. And then G form would repeat again with pentatonic fingering 1. A minor chords, arpeggio, and pentatonic scale in each of the E, D, C, A, G octave shapes. E form, 5th position here. The chord is A minor. Add these 2 notes to complete the arpeggio. In the scale A minor pentatonic. D form here at the 7th fret with the chord here, a D minor form chord. This is like open position D minor. Or its inversion, barring these 2 strings and moving the 2nd finger to the 6th string. Combine those 2 chords and add this 1 note, the flat 3 of A on the 4th string, the C note, to complete the arpeggio. Then the scale is fingering 2. And C form at the 10th fret. And the chords, this one is on frets 12, 12, 10, 9. And this one combines those last 2 notes with the 2nd string 10th fret with the 3rd finger and the 1st string 12th fret with the little finger. Combine those 2 chords, the tones from them, and this flat 3rd here and here, and you get this as arpeggio. And the scale, A minor pentatonic fingering 3. In the 12th position, the A form and the chord, which can include the 6th string, and add this 1 note to complete the arpeggio, or if you like, the high octave A here at the 17th fret as well. In the pentatonic scale, fingering 4. And G form of A notes at the 14th fret here. And the chord in the bass is frets 17, 15, 14, 14, or in the treble is frets on the 4th string 14, and then 17, 17, 17, a bar. This could also be played down an octave at the 2nd fret, and the scale, well, the arpeggio first is then the scale is fingering 5. Then at the 17th fret, the E form would occur again with fingering 1 and the chord and arpeggio. C major chords, arpeggio, and pentatonic scale in the G, E, D, C, and A octave shapes. In G form at the 5th fret, these are the C notes. There's a C chord, or this 3-finger G chord, like from the 1st position with the capo, using the 1st finger as a capo. Add this 1 note on the 2nd string to make the C major arpeggio. Then the scale is C major pentatonic fingering 1. Then the E form with the C major bar chord at the 8th fret, and add this 1 note, the 3rd, which was missing from the chord in the low range, and complete the arpeggio. add this high E, the third, if you like. Then the C major pentatonic scale, fingering 2. Next, D form. The chord could be in the treble like this, and notice this is like an open position D chord, or move that note from the first string to the sixth string, trade these two fingers for easier fretting, and bar the two fifth and fourth strings with your first finger. Combine all the notes of those two chords and add the missing note, the third here, and get the arpeggio, like so. Next, that's the fingering 3, C major pentatonic. The next, the C form, this is at the 13th fret, and the C form bar chord, that at the 12th fret. Adding these two notes, completing a C major arpeggio. Then the C major pentatonic scale, fingering 4. Lastly, the A form of C notes. This is the 15th fret. And the C major bar chord, which, if you're careful, could include the 6th string and the first string, hyperextending my ring finger here to clear the first string. Then a missing note is the third here on the 5th string. Play the arpeggio, and if you like, you could reach up to the high octave root, in this case at the 20th fret. This A form was C major pentatonic, fingering 5. Then the G form would repeat as it was here at the 15th fret, up at the 17th fret. Here's an overview of pentatonic fingerings 1 through 5 for relative A minor and C major. Fingering 1 is A minor in the E minor form, and C major in the G major form. Fingering 2 is A minor in the D minor form, and C major in the E major form. Fingering 3 is A minor in the C minor form, and C major in the D major form. Fingering 4 is A minor in the A minor form, C major in the C major form. Fingering 4. Fingering 5 is A minor in the G minor form, and C major in the A major form. Fingering 5. Then fingering 1 would reoccur here at the 17th fret, which is A minor in the A minor form, and C major in the G major form. Each octave shape in the key of A, E,
E form, D form, C form, A form, G form, with the parallel minor and major pentatonic fingerings and chords. E form, A minor is fingering 1, and A major, that's A minor, A major is fingering 2. So this rule will follow that in each case in the same octave shape, whatever fingering number the minor pentatonic is, the major pentatonic is 1 fingering number higher. Here in D form, the A minor is fingering 2, and the A major, the parallel major, is fingering 3. In the C form, the minor is fingering 3, and that was the A minor, and the A major is fingering 4. In the A form, the A minor is fingering 4, and the A major is 1 fingering number higher, fingering 5. In the G form, the A minor is fingering 5, and the A major is 1 fingering number higher in the cycle, which goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continues with 1 in a cycle. The higher number from fingering 5 for A minor, G form, fingering 5 is for major in the same octave shape, G form, fingering 1. Then it would recur with the E form up here again, minor in fingering 1 and major in fingering 2. Be aware that minor pentatonic and major pentatonic in the same key, in this parallel minor and major relationship, the minor and major pentatonic share 1 and 5. In this E form, for instance, this is 1 of A and 5 of A. Those were in the minor pentatonic, and they're also in the major pentatonic, but all the other notes are mutually exclusive because minor pentatonic adds to the notes 1 and 5, flat 3, 4, and flat 7, while major pentatonic adds to 1 and 5, 2, 3, and 6. Looking at the octave shapes in regard to fingerings that repeat within 1 octave for the most part works well with this 7-octave system. For A, for example, with a low-numbered finger in the bass, finger 1 on the 6th string, part of E form, the bass of E form, finger 1 on the 5th string, the bass of A form, finger 1 on the 4th string, the middle or the bass note in a D form, and then first finger on the 3rd string which is the top of a G form octave. So we have index finger on string 6, 5, 4, 3 on the notes A. Sometimes those notes in other scales or arpeggios may be the second finger, but it's one of the two lower numbered fingers. Then the other 3 octaves, that was 4 we just did. The other 3 octaves are on the 6th string, the little finger, the 5th string, the 6th string A, little finger, 5th string A, 3rd finger, 4th string A, 3rd finger. Those work for pentatonic scales. Again, in some of the fingerings, you might use, for instance, if you're doing major, this 5th string one would be the little finger instead of the 3rd finger. But in any case, it's a high numbered finger. And then on the 4th string, the 3rd finger on the 4th string. So the 7 octaves are 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string A, and then 6th string, 5th string, 4th string A with a high numbered finger. Minor pentatonic in each of the 7 octaves. Low numbered finger in the bass on the 6th string, and the fingering pattern is 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, right in position. Then on the 5th string, with the index finger, the fingering pattern is identical, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. Then 4th string index finger. Now the notes on the 2nd string have to go up 1 fret. Then index finger in the 3rd string. As soon as I hit the 2nd string, I have to go up 1 fret for the remainder. Then little finger in the bass, high numbered finger. Notice that this now spans 3 from the 6th string to the 3rd string, and there's 2 empty strings and 2 empty frets in the fingering, whereas the original octave skipped 1 empty string and 1 empty fret. So here, that digital pattern, fingers 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1. I'm going to repeat up here, but the fingers are changed. I could use the same fingering here for 2, 4, 1, 4, and then this 1 has to be moved up a fret. Or I could change the fingering and predominate the 1st and 3rd fingers. Then with the high numbered finger on the 4th string, it's still this original pattern, but I'm changing fingers. Here it would be as original 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, but moved up a fret because of the change of tuning, and then 1. But I might as well change that to use these 1st and 3rd fingers in the bass, like that, and that's the top of fingering 1. And for themes using these minor pentatonic fingerings in the 7 octaves, look in the description below for minor pentatonic themes. The 7 octaves of major pentatonic with Compensated fingering. This is the original pattern for low-numbered finger in the bass, in this case, second finger, and the fingering pattern is 2-4-1-4-1-4. Moving to the fifth string, from the sixth string to the fifth string for the low octave tone center. The pattern is the same, 2-4-1-4-1-4. Moving to the fourth string for the A note, the pattern has to be compensated on the second string, 2-4-1-4, then go up a fret for the second string, or refinger that and use first and third finger, except little finger on the last note. So that's like part of fingering 3, major pentatonic fingering 3. And then the original pattern again, 2-4-1-4-1-4 here, starting on the third string. I have to move up a fret to compensate when I hit the second string, 1-4-1-4. And I can refinger that and use the first finger here in each case on the second fret. Then the other orientation has a high numbered finger in the bass, the little finger, and the digital pattern is fingers 4-1-3-1-3-1, and moving that from the sixth string to the fifth string, I just have to compensate this last note and move it up a fret because of the change of tuning. So I might as well use the second finger there. And the last of the 7 octaves, the little finger on the fourth string. Here, I originally used that fingering. Remember, it was 4-1-3-1-3-1, and here it's 4-1-3. Then I have to move up a fret because I hit the second string, 1-3-1. Or I could refinger it and use the fifth position, reaching back for this one note like this, as would be typical in the top of fingering 2, which I am now playing. In the description below, you can use the link to a collection of major pentatonic themes. There's 22 or more themes. Those would be great for you to play. Transposing pentatonic fingerings. Here I'll start with A minor pentatonic fingering 1. And the tones in that scale by number in the key of A are 1, flat 3, 4, 5, that's 5. Flat 7, 1. And to change the key, going up a fourth from A minor to D minor, which is the same as going down a fifth from A minor to D minor. You just need to find the fifth of the scale, here the fifth, raise it by a half step, like this, change it a half step higher. Now I'm playing D minor pentatonic. Full range in this position would be A minor, and find the fifth. There it is in both octaves. Raise it a half step. Now I'm playing D minor. The same rule will work for the relative major. A minor's relative major is C major, and this same note that was the fifth of A minor is the third of its relative C major. In C, 1, 2, 3, that's the third. Use the same rule, raise it a half step, and it becomes the key up a fourth. C major changes to F major, or which is up a fourth, or down a fourth. If you look at it here, for instance, C is up a fourth to F, or C is down a fifth to F. That's by, again, raising the third of C, which is the same as raising the fifth of A minor. Then to change the key instead of up a fourth to go up a fifth, in the minor, find the flat third. A minor, its flat third is here, the C note. Lower that this time a half step in all of its octaves, like this. So A minor, with that flat third lowered a half step, becomes E minor. So that's going A minor, up a fifth to E minor, or A minor, down a fourth to E minor. Up a fifth, down a fourth is the same thing. And you could look at that with the relative measure as well. A minor's relative measure is C major, and if you lowered that same note, in this case it would be the tone center, C, of C major pentatonic, lower the tone center a half step in all octaves. Then C has gone up a fifth to G, or down a fourth to G. C is up a fifth to G, or C is down a fourth to G. That again by lowering the tone center of the major pentatonic. C major, lower the tone center, and now it's G major pentatonic. Very useful, since in songs, the most common second key is up a fourth or down, up a fourth or fifth, or down a fourth or fifth. Very common stuff.